Live.
We are good to go, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good morning to all attending the RTA's virtual meeting of our Board of Directors. The Governor's emergency declaration remains in force during the current COVID-19 pandemic, although we're making progress. And pursuant to his executive orders declaring a public health emergency and recent amendments to the Open Meetings Act, we continue to operate under the permission to conduct our meeting without physical attendance requirements. As head of this public body, I find it is not prudent or practical to hold an in-person meeting or to have staff or any member of the board at our headquarters during this particular meeting. So let's go through and review the guidelines for our meeting. Keep your audio on mute as much as possible to minimize background noise, which impairs the recording of this meeting. When you have a question or comment, please raise your virtual hand and Audrey will call on board members who have raised their hands one at a time. When she calls on you, lower your hand and unmute before you begin speaking. When we get to voting, please raise your hand to make a motion or a second. Audrey will identify who is making the motion and second for our record, and she'll announce the motion and second and lower all hands at that time. Are there any questions at this point?
Mr. Chairman, a couple board members who may not be able to raise their hand. So I'm going to ask that if they wait until the end of any comments or questions to kind of then chime in at the end.
Okay, great. And, to the two of them, don't be shy. You're not bothering anybody. Please, jump in, with the capability that you have. So with that said, I will now call to order this meeting of the Board of Directors of the Regional Transportation Authority of Northeastern Illinois. I'll begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please keep yourself muted if you would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, may you call the roll, please?
Certainly. If anybody is outside, not muted, please do so. I'm getting feedback. I see a couple people unmuted. Lori? Okay. All right, Director Andalcio.
Here.
Director Canty.
Here.
Director Carey.
Here.
Director Colson.
Here.
Director Frega.
Here.
Director Fuentes.
Here.
Director Gathing.
Here.
Director Groven.
Here.
Director Holt.
Here.
Director Cotel.
Here.
Director Lewis.
Here.
Director Melvin.
Here.
Director Pang.
Here.
Director Ross.
Here.
Director Sager.
Here.
Chairman Dillard.
I am present. Thank you.
We have 16 present, full house.
Excellent. Item 3 is the approval of the minutes from the board meeting held on May 20th of 2021. Are there any comments or corrections?
I do not see any hands.
If not, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve these minutes as submitted.
Director Holt moves and Director Sager seconds.
Great, thank you both. Audrey, will you take a roll call, please, as required?
Sure. Director Andalcio.
Yes.
Director Canty.
Yes.
Director Carey.
Aye.
Director Colson.
Yes.
Director Frega.
Aye.
Director Fuentes.
Aye.
Director Gathing.
Yes.
Director Groven.
Aye.
Director Holt.
Aye.
Director Cotel,
Aye.
Director Lewis,
Yes.
Director Melvin,
Yes.
Director Melvin?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, okay, thank you. Director Payne,
Yes.
Director Ross,
Yes.
Director Sager,
Yes.
Chairman Dillard,
Yes,
16 ayes.
thank you. Our minutes are approved from last month. Item 4 is the public comment segment of our meeting. We've asked the public to submit their comments via electronic mail. Any comments that we have received, Madam Secretary?
We have not received any comments for this meeting.
Okay, then we'll go on to item 5, which is Executive Director Leanne Redden's report. Leanne?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. So I hope everyone's had a few moments to maybe enjoy some of this early summer before it gets super hot, I think later today. But as we move on to this morning's agenda, I'm going to dive right into our federal and legislative update, followed by a couple of reminders and some highlights about the rest of this busy agenda for today's meeting. So while we're going to spend a proper amount of time reflecting on their contributions at the end of today's meeting, I do want to take a moment to recognize and just state that this will be the last meeting for Audrey Cole and for Director Frager. Uh-oh, she's already crying. I'm kidding. Both have made significant contributions to the RTA over their long tenure, and I look forward to taking some time to recognize both of them. So there'll be more to come at the end of the meeting. So next slide, please. Let's begin with the legislative update. At the end of May, the General Assembly passed a $42.3 billion fiscal year 2022 state budget. And there was some good news for transit. For the first time in 5 years, there were no cuts to the RTA's sales tax matching funding, which we commonly refer to as PTF. And as you recall, annually the state provides a 30% funding formula match to the total amount of sales tax generated by the RTA's regional sales tax. And in recent years, the state had reduced the matching formula, resulting in a critical loss of operating funds for us. So the restoration of the full state sales tax matching commitment has been crucial. It's been a standing legislative agenda for us, but it's been crucial is crucial as the region's transit system continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. So in addition to that welcome news, the state FY 2022 budget also contains appropriations for a $17.57 million reduced fare reimbursement grant, as well as almost an $8.4 million ADA paratransit operational grant, and a $131 million state debt service reimbursement grant. So with the exception of the full sales tax matching funds, all the state transit appropriations were consistent with FY 2021 funding levels. So good news. On the federal front, President Biden continues to negotiate with Republican lawmakers on the size and the scope of a potential infrastructure bill. And the president released his FY 2022 budget request on May 28, outlining the administration's priorities. The request includes a $6 trillion of funding, or spending, I should say, for FY 2022, with $88 billion for the U.S. Department of Transportation. The administration also requests a $13.5 billion allocation for public transportation and a $533 million increase from FY 21 enacted levels of $13 billion. So let's see how that goes. On the Hill side of things, the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee Chair Peter DeFazio introduced the Invest in America Act. The reauthorization proposal provides $547 billion for surface transportation infrastructure over the next 5 years, including $109 billion for public transit and $95 billion for passenger and freight rail services. On June 10th, the House T&I committee passed the bill out of its committee, largely along party lines, and we'll continue to keep you updated as all of this kind of discussions continue and all of this hopefully comes together. So next slide, please. I want to turn now to the region's investments and efforts to increase accessibility. During April of this year, we had an open call for applications for Section 5310 projects. And Section 5310 is a program that provides federal funding to support enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities, essentially by removing barriers for transportation services and expanding transportation mobility options that are available. So in March, you received a presentation on the updated Human Services Transportation Plan, or since we all seem to love acronyms in the transportation space, the HSTP, which guides our region's investments to increase accessibility and describes multiple strategies we plan to pursue collaboratively to build a more inclusive regional mobility network. We received 13 applications, which were reviewed for program eligibility and scored by the RTA in conjunction with a project selection team that comprised of staff from IDOT, CMAP, Easter Seals, as well as the RTA. All projects support at least one recommendation out of the Human Services Transportation Plan, and total federal funding for these projects totals nearly $11 million. Including about $1 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. You can view the full list of those projects and the actual applications on our website. The proposed program will be posted for public comment on July 1st and available for comment until July 31st. We invite and encourage public comment on all of these projects, and we will come back to you as a board in August with the projects and comments for your consideration and approval. So next slide, please. A few things to highlight from today's agenda. Today we'll welcome back Jackie Forbes, the Chief of Planning and Programming for the Kane County Division of Transportation. And she also serves as the chair of the RTA Transit Access Citizens Advisory Board. And she's going to give us a recap of their May 24th meeting. Two presentations you'll hear today will underscore the tremendous amount of work that continued across the region during the last 15 months. And despite the restrictions of the pandemic, first will be the biannual project management oversight report, which details progress on projects representing 6.1 billion capital projects, to clarify that, and the implementation of the goals of Invest in Transit across our region. And the second presentation and report summarizing years of work, placing more than 1,000 wayfinding signs across the region in places where service provided by different transit agencies, our 3 different transit agencies, both connect and in some cases overlap. These wayfinding signs help riders make connections across the region at these critical junctures and really high traffic areas as they return to transit or use it to explore new destinations. You may have seen an article describing this project in my bi-weekly newsletter or on our blog. And while this project has been ongoing in terms of its final implementation for the past 5 years, a significant portion of that implementation work was done during the last 15 months of the pandemic, and we're happy to have this signage available as the region's reopening continues. Additionally, you're going to hear about our proposed performance-based capital allocation process, We are revisiting this work that was put on hold last year as part of the annual budget process. So staff is going to today provide you with an overview of the proposed process that we developed in coordination with the service boards over the past several months. We think this is a really good step forward, a strong policy step forward, and we look forward to hearing your feedback today. Following today's presentation, it will go out for public comment also, and then be back before you for consideration for approval at our July meeting. Among several items you'll take action on today are the 2020 Combining Financial Report for the RTA and the service boards, in which you will be asked to vote to certify compliance with the RTA's Act's recovery ratio requirements for 2020. And finally, you'll vote on or be asked to vote to approve the 2020 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, as well as your authorization on an amendment to the years 21 through 25 capital programs. So next slide, please. Just a brief update on where we are at with our recovery strategy. Since early spring, staff have been working to define the general approach to developing the regional transit system's next 5-year strategic plan, really under the guise or under the sort of umbrella of step 3 of our recovery efforts. We anticipate this to be a multi-year effort. Our next step is to present our thoughts to you in August, get your feedback, and after incorporating that feedback, we will describe the approach in detail for public comment and feedback as this planning effort will ramp up in the fall. So next slide, please. Very quickly, here are the state delinquency numbers for this month. Through the end of May, the state owes the RTA $141 million in the combination of debt service and public transportation fund reimbursements. The state is about 11 months behind on the debt service piece of things. And on the PTF side, they're essentially largely caught up. And while it's sort of a month behind, that's just the normal sort of lag, if you will, in sort of just the receipt of those funds. So to the state's credit, earlier in June, the RTA received from the state controller that month of PTF that was requisitioned from IDOT later in May. So that's all good news, and the state has really become very current in some of these areas. The year-to-date cost, though, of carrying the short-term debt that we do to sort of cover these lags and shortfalls is $1.5 million. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Leanne. Any questions of the Executive Director?
I do not see any hands.
All right, and thanks, Leanne. And we will be back to talk a little bit more about a lot more about Director Friga and Audrey at the end of the board meeting. Next is item 6A. It's just an update on the activities of the RTA Transit Access Citizens Advisory Board. Jackie Forbes, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Dillard and the Board of Directors. Thank you for your time this morning. The RTA CAB last met on May 24th, as Leanne mentioned. The attendees reviewed the responsibilities of the RTA Citizens Advisory Board and the chair. We noted how it interacts with the RTA Board of Directors and that the CAB is available for providing advice to the Board of Directors on matters relating to RTA services and programs. Mark Koljak, Division Manager of Customer Programs, provided a statistical report of the services offered in 2020 with the Mobility Services Department. Although we receive quarterly reports at our meetings, once a year we have a presentation to review the prior year's numbers. Statistics were provided for the ADA Paratransit Certification, Travel Training, Mobility Outreach, the RTA Travel Information Center, and the Reduced Fare and Ride Free Fare programs. Tina Fassett-Smith, Director of Communications, provided a presentation on the various ways in which the RTA communicates with the public, including the RTA website, newsletters, the RTA blog, RTAMs, and the social media. She also highlighted a new mask campaign to encourage riders to continue to use masks on transit. Heather Mullins, Division Manager, Local Programming and Program Management, provided an update on the Section 5310 call for projects. Ms. Mullins reported that the RTA received 13 applications and explained the next steps in the selection process. Peter Kirsten, Strategic Planner, provided a presentation of the final report of the ADA Paratransit Innovation Study. The purpose of the study, which is to identify the challenges to the sustainability of the ADA paratransit system in the region, research innovative solutions to meet these challenges, and pilot such innovations to determine if enhancements to the system can lead to increased sustainability. He reviewed 3 pilots that PACE will begin in late 2022 through 2023. Linda Chamberlain, Mobility Outreach Coordinator, provided a briefing on a research project underway to determine the need for a regional mobility manager position. This position would help coordinate transit initiatives throughout the region and was a key recommendation that came out of the recent revision of the Human Services Transportation Plan, or HSTP. The next meeting of the RTA Citizens Advisory Board is scheduled for July 26th from 10 o'clock until noon. And that concludes my report.
Great, Jackie. Thank you very much. Any questions on this?
I am checking and I do not see any hands.
Great. Next, we'll go on to 6B, and that's the report on our monthly financial results for April of 2021. Good morning, B. You there?
Well, you're getting Bill this month.
Oh, I'm getting Bill. Okay.
Very good.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and Directors. As I said, this is RTA Treasurer and Budget Manager Bill Lackman. Today, I will cover the year-to-date Service Board financial results through April. This is for informational purposes only, no vote. You will recall that last month, the board adopted revised operating budgets, which more accurately reflect recent ridership, revenue, and expense trends. As a result, you'll notice fewer red highlights on this month's presentation as we compare results to these revised budgets. Next slide, please. System year-to-date ridership was 1.3 percentage points favorable to the revised regional budget, but was still running about 35% of normal levels in April. PACE suburban service ridership lagged even the revised budget by almost 10%, highlighted here in red. PACE and the other service boards have been reporting steadily increasing ridership levels in May and June. So the unfavorable variances for PACE and Metra are expected to improve as we move forward. Next slide, please. Total operating revenue of $390 million was $10.9 million, or 2.7% unfavorable to budget. Through April, the service boards included a total of $279 million of federal CARES Act funding in operating revenue, which counts towards the service board and regional recovery ratio requirements. Next slide, please. There is very good news on the public funding portion of the financial equation. Through April, public funding shows a total favorable variance of $28 million to budget as RTA sales tax receipts continue to exceed our expectations and the newly adopted budget. The latest sales tax results for March have set an all-time monthly record of $125 million. This amount includes some catch-up receipts from previous months related to the collection of RTA sales tax on a broader range of online purchases, which began in January of this year. While 1 month does not a trend make, the outlook for RTA operating funding is very favorable. And as noted in Leanne's presentation, the 5% PTF cut will not be renewed in state fiscal year 2022. Please note that the extent to which RTA funding improves, the service boards will in turn require less CARES Act funding. Next slide, please. System-wide operating expenses through April were $15 million, or 1.6 percentage points favorable to the revised budget. Metra expenses exceeded budget by $6 million as service continues to be restored. CTA, PACE, and PACE ADA each reported favorable expense variances. Next slide, please. Due to good sales tax and expense performance, the total system net result was $32 million favorable to budget through April. PACE and PACE ADA net results exceeded 3% of total expenses, highlighted here in light blue. As the year progresses, the actual net results should migrate towards zero as the service boards continue to requisition just enough federal relief funding to break even. Next slide. With CARES Act funding included, the regional recovery ratio was 54.2%, 0.3 percentage points unfavorable to budget. Notably, recovery ratio was unfavorable by 3.6 percentage points. A combination of good sales tax performance and relatively low expense levels has begun to limit the amount of CARES Act funding Metra can requisition and count towards its recovery ratio. We saw a similar situation develop in 2020, so we will be monitoring this closely and keeping the board apprised. On the left side of the table, you can see the without CARES recovery ratios through April, still hovering below 20%. In summary, the latest financial results versus the revised budgets are generally good, with strong sales tax performance mitigating the relief funding, which in turn is causing a little concern about the regional recovery ratio. That concludes my remarks. I'll do my best to answer any questions. Back to you, Chairman Dillard.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions on this report of Bill's?
I am checking. I see no hands. Any questions from those who do not have hand raising capability? Director Melvin, I see you're unmuted.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Hey, Bill, could you tell us just a little bit more about that catch-up amount, please? Exactly how much is that? That's obviously a one-time thing, and it's because of internet sales.
So we do not get a breakdown of the sales tax each month. How much is from this month? How much might be correct prior months? Just get sort of we get the lump sum number of the amount collected during the month, whether it's from the current month or previously. But my contact Springfield did alert me to the size of the amount and the fact that it does include some prior month corrections. So it's good news, but we don't know how sustainable it is because it does have prior month corrections in it. And every month does have some prior month corrections, but based on what I was told, this has an exceptional amount, mostly due to the fact that the extension of the sales tax on internet purchases was new beginning January 1st.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you. It's nice to have good news
Sure.
all around.
Yes, it is. Thanks for your question.
Oh, it is. Thank you, Chris. All right, we will move on to item 6C, which is the presentation on the semi-annual project management or PMO report. Violet, you going to present this?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Chairman and board members. My name is Violet Gunka, and I am the Division Manager for Project Management Oversight and Compliance. Today, I will present the current report on project management oversight. Next slide. RTA implements the PMO program pursuant to Section 2.01B of the RTA Act. RTA is required to oversee the Service Board's capital programs and expenditures. PMO is part of RTA's fulfillment of this requirement. The focus of the PMO program is implementation, delivery, and completion of active projects. Our team provides detailed information on the progress of ongoing projects. The PMO program supports the RTA's Invest in Transit strategic plan as we focus on ensuring that we are efficient stewards of the capital funding that we have. Through this program, we work with the RTA capital team and the service boards to ensure that capital funding is spent efficiently and effectively. The projects presented in the PMO report show how we deliver value on our investments, build upon the strong transit network that we have, and help us stay competitive. RTA and the service boards have been working on improving the transparency in capital investments. Providing details on the current projects in the region supports this initiative. Next slide, please. The PMO program includes oversight of all state-funded transit projects, regardless of budget, and all other projects with budgets of 10 million or more, regardless of funding source. Specific involvement includes direct reports and meetings with service board project teams, attendance at other project meetings, project site visits, and periodic reporting to the Illinois Department of Transportation. The PMO report that you have received provides an inside look and highlights the investments that the service boards are making into the system. The report details the currently ongoing projects in the region. You can easily see progress, issues, and risks for the transit capital projects. The report was sent out in your board packets, and it will be published on the RTA website following the board meeting. Next slide, please. At this time, we have many state-funded projects starting up and entering the PMO process. Therefore, we would like to provide some background on when that happened. First, the service boards complete and submit the grant applications for the Rebuild Illinois and PAYGO funding that are reviewed and approved by RTA and IDOT. After the grant funds are awarded, the service boards finish up their project planning and complete the procurement process for the project. Once the procurement process is completed at the service board level, the RTA concurs on the procurements and a notice to proceed is issued for the project. The RTA PMO process starts once there is an executed agreement with the contractor and project scope activities have commenced. From this point, the PMO considers the project to be active. The PMO team monitors the project scope, schedule, and budget against the baseline agreed upon in the executed contract document. All active PMO projects are included in the PMO report. A project exits the PMO process once it reaches substantial completion. After substantial completion, there are still closeout administrative activities and final invoices that are reviewed and approved by the RTA capital team. However, the scope has been completed and the project is no longer included in the PMO report after substantial completion. At this time, there are many more Rebuild Illinois and PAYGO projects in the procurement process at the service board. Therefore, they are not yet included in the PMO report, but we will be reporting on those in the future. To summarize, PMO projects are a subset of the capital program, and the PMO report provides a snapshot in time of the currently active PMO projects. Next slide, please. This PMO report includes 45 active projects that have over 1.3 billion of state funding. The number of active state-funded projects has more than doubled since the last reporting period. There are 8 new Rebuild Illinois projects that entered the PMO process and 19 new PAYGO projects, which are included in this report for the first time. The report also includes 7 state-funded projects that are funded with prior year's programs, as the service boards are still wrapping up some older projects and using up any remaining funds. The 58 current projects with budgets of 10 million or more represented in this report show an investment of over 6 billion into our system. This funding includes what's already been expanded and what is obligated for these projects. some of these projects span over multiple years. The number of PMO projects that are 10 million or more increased by 12 from the last reporting period. Next slide, please. In 2020, over 1.3 billion in Rebuild Illinois funding was awarded to the service boards for 38 projects proposed in the grant applications. As of May, over 18 million or 1.3% has been expanded. This PMO report includes 24 active Rebuild Illinois projects. 2 projects have been completed in the prior reporting period, and 12 projects are in the planning and procurement stage at the service board. Similarly, 227 million in PAYGO funding has been awarded in 2020 for 27 projects proposed in the grant applications. At this time, over 63 million or 28% has been expanded. This PMO report includes 17 active and 2 completed PAYGO projects. The remaining 8 projects are in the planning and procurement stage at the service board. As mentioned in the previous slide, many of the Rebuild Illinois and PAYGO funded projects are just starting and entering the PMO process. The majority of new projects have no expenditures or have very low expenditures as project milestones have not been met yet. Next slide, please. We briefly touched on the state-funded project budgets on last slide. All of the state-funded projects are on budget. With respect to scope, there were 3 change orders executed this reporting period. Most of the total change orders were for added value to the project and represent less than 1% of the total budget for all the state-funded projects. All change order justifications were reviewed and concurred on by the RTA. The schedule performance for the state-funded projects is strong. 42 of the 45 state-funded projects are on schedule. The projects that are behind schedule are CTA's 98th Street Rail Shop Bridge replacement, Metro's Union Pacific North Line bridges and Ravenswood Station, as well as PACE's purchase of 15 passenger paratransit vehicles. The construction projects continued with work during COVID-19, implementing social distancing and other CDC recommendations at job sites without major schedule impact. Some of the bus procurement and rail procurement projects have experienced some delays related to COVID-19 due to plant closures last year. Next slide, please. In the PMO report, we break down the projects into 3 categories, which include construction, maintenance and rehabilitation, and procurement. On this slide, you can see the graphical representation of the projects in these categories at each of the service boards. Construction includes all projects related to design or improvements to stations, bridges, and other transit facilities. The maintenance and rehabilitation includes projects like track, signal, and substation upgrades and improvements, as well as rehabilitation of rolling stock. The last category includes procurement of rolling stock and technology like cameras and positive train control components. Next slide, please. On this slide, we wanted to highlight some of the Rebuild Illinois projects. CTA has awarded a contract in 2020 to purchase material kits for the 5000 series rail car rehabilitation project. This project provides for the quarter-life overhaul of the 5000 series rail cars. The maintenance includes major component rebuilds and needed repairs to the car bodies. Metro's design project for the rehabilitation of 5 stations on the electric line is in progress. The project includes the following stations: 79th Street, 87th Street, 95th Street, 103rd Street, and 111th Street. The project elements may include the replacement and/or rehabilitation of station platforms, new lighting, headhouse rehabilitation, replacement of leaking roofs, installation of new warming shelters, new platform amenities, and other related work. The new stations will also be fully accessible and meet ADA requirements. PACE is moving forward with the design and construction of the new Northwest Division garage and wheeling. The new facility will replace the Northwest Division built in 1962. It will be a full-service, fully furnished and equipped heavy-duty bus repair, maintenance, and storage garage. These are just a few highlights. Details on other Rebuild Illinois and PAYGO projects are included in the PMO report. Next slide, please. On this slide, we wanted to highlight state bond funded projects that were completed this reporting period. CTA completed the bridge replacement leading to the 98th Street Rail Shop entrance. The project also included the rehabilitation of critical elements at the rail shop in order to bring it to the state of good repair. Metro's Positive Train Control project achieved federal system certification. All required Metro lines are running in revenue service demonstration, and testing has been completed on all tenant operators. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation. I will be happy to answer any questions. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thank you, Violet. It's nice to have capital projects moving again and underway. Any questions on Violet's report?
I am checking. Director Melvin.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Violet, just a quick question. So on the certification of the positive train control for Metra, does that mean it's all done, or is that just a step in the process of getting it completed?
It is a step in the process. I mean, the major milestone and the federal deadline was last year of December 31st, 2020 to meet a certain requirements. There's certainly further activities that will need to be done. The reason we're calling it completed on our under our state funded projects is because the portion of the project that was funded with state dollars was for system integration, and that part has been completed.
Okay, I see. Okay, so how long before it's all done? Is there an estimation that you got, or?
I don't have that information readily available. I mean, Metro is in the process, is still in process of refining the system, as everything is new and it was beta version of the system. They're also hiring staff and so forth. So it's a huge program for them that is currently ongoing. But we could get more information from Metro for you.
Understood. I just kind of like to know, since it's all come up and there's a certification, I'd just like to kind of know where it is. That's all. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and thank you for a great report.
Sure, and we could continue reporting on the project. It just won't be in the state-funded portion since that part has been completed, as all the systems with other railroads have been integrated and the system is running. But we could continue reporting in the other section of our report.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. All right, let's move on. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, if you will, just sort of additional, I think, comment on the PTC thing. I mean, I think as Violet was indicating, there's sort of some capital investment piece of this, but it's an ongoing program and function activity that Metra has to maintain in perpetuity. So there'll be ongoing maintenance, but then there's also pretty significant operational cost that Metro has to maintain as a federal requirement to keep running the PTC system. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for doing that. It's not a one-time unfunded mandate from the federal government. The operations cost and just the upkeep. I mean, we're going to have a report in a minute, I believe, from George. Anything dealing with technology like this is going to require constant upgrades and expenses. So when we were asked to take on this unfunded mandate, the operations costs are going to continue in perpetuity. Right, I saw Mark, there he is, pulling up here.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Unless Director Melvin has another question. I see his hand is up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No longer.
Okay.
Hand is down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Next is 6D, and that's the presentation on our interagency signage program. And Mark, I see you there. It's all yours.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As mentioned, I'm Mark Pitstick, and I'm project manager for interagency signage. With me also today is Kevin Stansfield. He's the division manager of regional coordination, and he'll be available to help me answer any questions at the end of my presentation. We're both very pleased to be here with you today to present recent accomplishments of the RTA's interagency signage program. Next slide, please. So this morning, I'm going to brief you on the signage program background, share with you some of our recent accomplishments, and then outline our next steps. Then we'll open it up for your questions. The purpose of the interagency signage program is to provide information that will allow transit passengers to make the connections necessary to get to their destinations, especially if those connections are between agencies. We conducted user research some years ago, which concluded that information coordination in the field was sorely lacking for our extensive regional transit system. So we tested some initial signage prototypes, developed signage standards for those products, and then fabricated and installed pilot signs at 4 demo locations in 2012. Based on that initial work, we secured a federal grant of $4.2 million to design, fabricate, and install similar signs at 19 key interagency locations throughout the region. This expansion of the signage program involved 5 separate contracts, which this board approved, as detailed in the memo. I'm happy to report that this work is now substantially completed, and we even have some leftover funds in the federal grant. And I should note that all of this work involved extensive coordination with and cooperation from staff at the service boards, the various municipalities, the host railroads, and several private property owners. Next slide, please. These 2 maps show the 19 recently completed locations marked with blue dots and the 4 earlier demo locations marked with red dots. The demo locations were Van Buren Street in downtown Chicago, Davis Street in Evanston, Joliet Union Station, and a bus transfer location on the border of Evergreen Park in Chicago. But for today, I'm just going to focus on the signs that we recently installed over the past few years at 19 locations. We divided those locations into 3 sets or bundles, and we had 3 separate contracts for sign fabrication and installation, 1 contract for each bundle. Next slide. In 2017 and 2018, one of the RTA's contractors fabricated and installed new signs and maps at the Bundle 1 locations. And those are the Elgin Metro Station and Pace Transportation Center, the Harvey Metro Station and Pace Transportation Center, the Lake Cook Road Metro Station in Deerfield, the Lisle Metro Station, the Montrose CTA and Mayfair Metro Stations in Chicago, the Naperville Metro and Amtrak Station, and the Roosevelt CTA and Museum Campus Metro Stations in Chicago. A few of the many signs installed at Elgin, Harvey, and Museum Campus are highlighted on the next few slides. Next slide, please. In Elgin, the Pace Transfer Center is located just across the street from the metro station, but you can't always see one facility from the other. The photo on the left shows the train connection map and the neighborhood map at the metro station. Similar maps are available at the Pace facility. The directional signs in the photo on the right help people find the crosswalk between Metro and Pace. And the city added that crosswalk at our request a few years ago. Next slide. In Harvey, the Metro Electric station is above grade on an embankment, and the nearby Pace facility is across the street and a block away from the nearest Metro entrance. The overhead sign in the photo on the left directs people from the Metro platform to the Pace buses. The bus connection maps in the photo on the right provide details on all the Pace routes at the Harvey Transportation Center. Next slide. At Museum Campus, we're trying to help people connect between the Roosevelt CTA stations and the Metro Electric station that is a few blocks away and below grade in the middle of Grant Park. Photo on the left shows a directional sign along Michigan Avenue near the park, pointing to all the different stations. And the photo on the right shows the downtown Chicago transit map just outside the Roosevelt CTA station. Next slide. In 2019 and 20, a different RTA contractor fabricated and installed new signs and maps at the Bundle 2 locations. And those were the Aurora Transportation Center, the Harlem Lake CTA and Oak Park Metro stations, the Irving Park and CTA and Metro stations in Chicago, the Jefferson Park Transit Center in Chicago, the Main Street CTA and Metro stations in Evanston, the Waukegan Metro Station, and the Wheaton Metro Station. Aurora, Jefferson Park, and Waukegan are highlighted on the next few slides. Next slide. The Aurora Transportation Center is the terminus of Metro's BNSF line and also serves as the transfer center for 6 Pace bus routes. The city of Aurora recently relocated the Pace Transfer Center so that the bus stops are now adjacent to the metro tracks, as shown in both of these photos. Our signs went in just after that work was completed by the city, and the photo on the right shows installation of a large RTA sign structure next to one of the city's interactive kiosks. Next slide, please. The Jefferson Park Transit Center includes adjacent stations on the CTA Blue Line and the Metro UP Northwest Line, plus 2 bus terminals for multiple Pace and CTA bus routes. The photo on the left shows installation of a large sign structure for maps on the Metro Center platform. The photo on the right shows a transit facility map outside one of the recently built bus terminals. Next slide. The signs and maps in Waukegan are intended to help Metro passengers make connections to and from all the Pace buses, most of which terminate on a bluff above the Metro UP North Line. The photo on the left shows installation of a large sign structure for maps at the Metro station. And the photo on the right shows the new bus stop signage on top of the bluff where most of the buses stop. Next slide. In 2020 and 21, the RTA's contractor fabricated and installed new signs and maps at the Bundle 3 locations. And those are the Blue Island, Vermont Street stations, metro stations, Chicago Union Station, LaSalle Street Station, Millennium Station, and Ogilvie Transportation Center. Blue Island, LaSalle, and Ogilvie are highlighted on the next few slides. Next slide. In Blue Island, Metro's adjacent Rock Island District and Electric District stations are located across the street from each other. RTA's contractor fabricated all the signs and maps for Blue Island and installed most of them last month. Sometime next year, Metro's contractor will install the remaining signs and maps as part of their construction project to rehabilitate the historic Rock Island District station. Photo on the left shows a new Pace bus shelter with RTA signs and maps. The stop is in downtown Blue Island, a few blocks away from the metro stations. Photo on the right shows a directional sign at the Vermont Street crosswalk between the 2 metro stations. Next slide. Ogilvie Transportation Center has several entrances providing access to the metro trains. However, the adjacent private building provides the only accessible entrance to the above-grade metro platforms. So we added signs to show the accessible path from the nearby CTA Clinton station and multiple CTA bus stops nearby. The photo on the left shows one of the directional signs that help people follow the accessible path. And the photo on the right shows installation of an overhead directional sign along a sidewalk below the metro tracks. Next slide, please. The LaSalle Street Station area includes the terminus of Metro's Rock Island District line, as well as adjacent CTA stations for the Blue Line subway and the Loop Elevated. Transferring there involves both vertical challenges and horizontal challenges to navigate around several large buildings. The photo on the right shows installation of a large overhead sign above the stairway and elevator from the metro platforms down to the adjacent bus facility. The photo on the left shows one of the 2 large overhead signs fabricated by RTA's contractor that will be installed by CTA staff on the elevated structure along Van Buren Street, just outside our offices. These signs will help direct people to and from the hidden metro station. And we're very excited about these 2 signs. I did final inspection yesterday, and they're going to be shipped to CTA this week, and they should be going in very soon. Next slide, please. So we've accomplished a lot over the last 5 years. The 3 construction bundles are now substantially complete, and the RTA's original vision to develop and implement over 1,000 signs at 19 key interagency locations throughout the region has now been realized. And those 19 recent locations, when combined with the 4 demo locations, account for a large share of interagency transfers in the RTA region. This work was completed under budget relative to the original grant, leaving approximately $1.2 million of funds available for additional activity. So we are planning to use the remaining funds in the federal grant to expand the signage program to additional interagency locations. That will require procurement of engineering design services later this year, followed by procurement of sign fabrication and installation services next year, all subject to approval from this board. Finally, I should mention that the RTA also has a robust sign maintenance program, and we will continue to coordinate with the service boards on updates and installation of signs fabricated by RTA, like we're doing now with CT and Metro near the LaSalle stations. Next slide. Additional sign locations and photos are provided in the companion report and the story map, and the links for both of those are included in the board memo. That concludes my presentation and available for any questions at this time, along with Kevin Stansfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Those signs look great, and signage is much more complex and much more expensive than most people know. Any questions or comments for Mark or his team?
Director Colson has his hand raised.
Yeah, I know when this was first proposed, some of us raised questions about the cost of the project, but I think as it turns out, it's the perfect project for the RTA, and that it's not a project that any one service board could undertake by themselves. But more important, I think it sends the message that the system is not, the service boards are not competing with each other for passengers, but rather they should be complementing each other. And riders no longer have to magically divine how to make a connection between service boards. So it really facilitates not only a seamless transition for our customers, but it fosters the message that the service boards are cooperating and getting together. So I say kudos to the project.
Yeah, thank you very much. We agree, and we've had nothing but cooperation from the service boards all throughout. And you know, I mentioned a couple examples of where they're doing some installation of some signs that are more appropriate for them to install. So thank you.
Director Ross has his hand raised.
Mark, I just have a question about logistics. Now that all the signs are in place, whose responsibility is it to ensure that that signage remains effective? So when something changes at a location, how is that picked up by staff, and what happens after it's picked up?
Right, that's an excellent question, Director Ross, and we are responsible. These signs that we're putting in, we have committed to long-term responsibility of these. We have agreements with all the communities. We have agreements with the service boards, and it basically says that we are responsible. We'll take care of them. They just need to let us know if there's any issues, if they need something relocated. We have an ongoing maintenance. We have a multi-year maintenance contract to do that. Staff does some of that work when it's a simple stuff, and when we update things like the paper maps, and we replace the things that are easy to replace. And then we have a contractor to do things that are more complicated. And for example, one of our pilot locations is in Joliet at the Union Station. And, you know, that was put in 9 years ago. And, you know, over the last few years, they've done a lot of changes there. The stations were, you know, city built the new stations for Metro, and they're building now a new station for Pace. So we've moved things around there several times. We were just out there this week. I was out there, and we were replacing some of the frames on the large stainless structures up on the platform and putting new maps in. And so we're doing that all the time, and we've committed to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I do not see any other hands.
Audrey, this Pat Carey.
Oh,
If I
okay,
could jump
sorry.
in with a
Sure.
question. In one of your first slides, you talk about getting user input and doing user testing. Is there a process in place to get ongoing, you know, as we continue, because the project started some years ago, to continually get user input on what might be needed?
Well, we haven't done that for a while. We did several rounds of that at the beginning, initial user research and then user testing of prototypes. And then we tested with after our demo locations were installed about 9 years ago. Since then, we haven't done any formal program. We do get feedback from the communities and from individuals, but that's sort of random. We don't have a specific program for that.
Mark, let me jump in. Excuse me, Director. We do have do plan to ask at least a couple of questions on our rider surveys, which are done by the RTA.
Okay. perfect, because I mean, things change. People might see a need for signage that we miss because we don't ride the same trains every day or same buses. But thank you.
I do
Thank
not
you.
see any other hands.
All right, Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to 6E, which is a presentation on the performance-based capital allocation process. Jill, Jill, are you gonna present this one?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Chairman and directors. I'm here to present the results of work that RTA staff has been doing with the service boards this spring to develop a new performance-based capital allocation structure. Next slide. First, I'll start with background. In 2019, when we were initially programming the new state funds from Rebuild Illinois, RTA worked with the service boards to determine principles that would be used to lead the prioritization and programming of the infusion of capital from the state of Illinois. I'll go over these later in the presentation. The work we did in 2020 was to enact these principles and to develop the draft investment framework that was presented to the board last year. Public comment on the investment framework and COVID uncertainty led to the decision to leave the 2025 capital funding unallocated and placed in a regional set-aside. The draft investment framework was incorporated into the 2021 to 2025 operating and capital budget, and we will highlight that later in this presentation. Next slide. That timeline led us to follow up on the allocation work this year. We are focusing on 2025 and 2026 capital funds. I will discuss which specific funds in a moment. This proposal is part of a larger effort that we will kick off this summer to update the Regional Transit Strategic Plan as we work toward recovery efforts coming out of the pandemic. We had a shorter time frame to turn this proposal around, so we met with the service board staff for 5 meetings over a series of 5 weeks to develop a collaborative and coordinated approach. Next slide. Our overall goal continues to be to make the case for sustainable, ongoing capital funds. As we have shared with you in the past, this chart shows that about 1/3 of our assets are not in a state of good repair and need to be replaced. The influx of funding from Rebuild Illinois will help us continue to improve assets in the short term. However, in the longer term, if state bond investments are not continued, conditions begin to deteriorate again and will eventually be worse than they are today. This is really what we are trying to avoid. Instead, we want to make a case for more stable capital funds to maintain and enhance the system. Next slide. The funding pots we will be discussing for the allocation are PAYGO, the transit share of the state motor fuel tax funding, and 3 sources of federal formula funds: urbanized area, state of good repair, and bus facility funds. We are not including any other sources of capital funds, such as service board funds from any other sources. Also, as a reminder, this is capital funds that we're talking about, not operating nor federal relief dollars. Next slide. With the passage of Rebuild Illinois bond funds and PAYGO dollars, the RTA board established these principles to allocate funds starting with the 2020 to 2024 program. A reminder that the region received $2.6 billion in state bond funds and the ongoing PAYGO funds. The bond funds are fully programmed and we are working to get them into grant agreements. I'm going to walk through each of these principles quickly as a reminder. First, begin decreasing the region-wide backlog of deferred projects. Second, focus spending on projects that can be completed in a timely manner. Third, to provide near-term programming and planning certainty. Fourth, to allow for long-term adaptability and transparency of future transportation priorities. And finally, to continue conducting transparent, data-driven project selection through our annual budgeting process. We believe these are still critical and form the basis of our thinking in terms of this allocation proposal. Next slide. This year, we began our process by considering alternate approaches to making the allocations. Our general approach for capital allocation, one general approach for capital allocation is through project prioritization, which has been suggested by advocacy groups. This would have individual projects ranked and prioritized against a set of measures. This would be extremely resource intensive for the RTA in each of the service boards. But more importantly, the criteria that will fairly measure our wide variety of projects is problematic, especially since the overwhelming majority of projects are focused on maintenance activities. Staff is not recommending this approach. Another alternative is the program delivery approach. This approach would build on processes that are already in place. The long-range planning processes by each of the transit agencies and also by CMAP and the state develops projects transparently as they moved into a 5-year capital program. Invest in Transit identified a set of priority projects to add further transparency to projects. And the provision of funding through formula allocation provides a level of certainty important to an efficient capital process, but with room to also apply performance measures in this allocation. Our proposal focuses on the program delivery approach. Next slide. Building on the principles established by the RTA board for Rebuild Illinois, as well as the work we've done together over the last year communicating the need to increase funding to reach state of good repair, including a clear set of communication strategies and consistent policies articulated through the Invest in Transit strategic plan. We've outlined these principles for basing the capital allocation. First, capital need. Where we will focus on and how to measure capital need at the service board level. Second, capital expenditure performance. The RTA board has made it clear that the new capital funding needs to be expended efficiently. And third, policy priorities. How do we use Invest in Transit strategic goals, the established mechanism to identify priority projects, and the core requirements to ensure funding goes towards the best projects? The remainder of this presentation discusses the definitions we have put to these principles and how to structure them for implementation for allocation to the service boards. Next slide. For capital need, we are proposing to define need in terms of state of good repair, given our past work to establish state of good repair as the fundamental issue for capital funding. The RTA and the service boards have been working on developing and refining the region's asset inventory for the last 10 years, referred to as TAM, or Transit Asset Management Plans. The last regional assessment was completed in 2016. Following that, a federal requirement was put into place for the service boards to further develop and refine their own TAM plans, and they have concentrated on those efforts. We are collectively working to update our regional inventories that we have now termed Strategic Asset Management, or SAM. You can see on this slide a number of reports. They demonstrate the level of activity that has gone into developing this need-based approach. It was the basis of our current regional strategic plan, Invest in Transit, and was ultimately successful in securing funds for transit through the state's Rebuild Illinois program. Ultimately, focusing on state of good repair is our fundamental approach to maintaining and enhancing the region's transit system. There are several ways to measure the state of good repair need that have been developed in our past work, and I'll describe that in the next slide when we look at the numbers. Next slide. Looking more specifically at the numbers to measure capital need, we would use the annual funding level that we published in our last capital asset condition assessment document as shown here. We have been saying that we need about $2 to $3 billion annually to meet our state of good repair needs, so this aligns with our previous statements. We don't yet have that level of funding, but this clearly defines our need and the proportion of funding across all 3 agencies, and we believe represents a fair consideration of how we would achieve state of good repair together. This is also a forward-looking measure. By using the annual funding need, it relates directly to the annual capital funding we're distributing. Next slide. Putting the process all together, the first step would be to allocate to each service board their % of the total regional capital need, as we have just defined. The second step in our proposal is to apply performance measures to 50% of the allocated funds. And as a final piece, we would further require that 20% of the total funds allocated be spent on projects that advance the core requirements of accessibility and equity as an additional means to ensure funds are spent towards these objectives. Before describing in detail how performance measures would be applied, Let me run through a quick graphic that hopefully will make the process clear. Next slide. So we would start with the 4 pots of money, recognizing that the funding source has some restrictions and we can track those throughout. Next slide. We would combine these funds in a total pot to allocate. Next slide. And 50% of that flows directly to the service boards based on that 20-year state of good repairs percentage split. Next slide. The remaining 50% is also allocated based on the 20-year state of good repair percentage and then incremented by the expenditure performance measures, which I'll describe in a minute. Next slide. So that allocates the total funding to each service board. Then at least 20% of the funding allocated to each agency would be required to be programmed to fulfill the core requirements of accessibility and equity that I will also go into further detail in a moment. Next slide. So let's move to the capital expenditure performance measures and how these would work. The RTA board and the legislature have expressed importance of spending the money we have received efficiently. And we recognize that to be in a position to ask and receive more funding, we must demonstrate our capacity to quickly spend down what we already have. RTA has developed measures that we use for internal tracking of capital delivery, which can be used to measure performance. Next slide. The 2 measures we are proposing are average age of funds and percent of available funds spent in the current year. The average age of available funds helps us monitor aging of the entire grant portfolio to ensure that, on average, no funds are getting too old. The percent of available funds spent in the current year help us ensure that expenditures are occurring each year commensurate with the capital program size. Next slide. Before we look at the numbers, let me provide an overview of how this would work. So half the funds will be allocated based on the proportional amount of funding each of the service boards needs to achieve a state of good repair in 20 years. The other half is allocated on the same need percentage and incremented on expenditure performance. Targets would be set for the 2 measures, the average age of funds and the percent of funds spent. And each of these measures would be the average over the previous 3 years to smooth out any annual anomalies. Then for each measure, if a service board does not meet the target, a percent of funds is withheld based on the percent deviation from the target. And we would establish a guardrail to limit the maximum exposure to 20% of the total funds. And finally, any funds withheld would be in a regional discretionary set aside. Here's how these performance measures work. As an example, if it were applied for 2025 and 2026 program years. I'm sorry, next slide. Thanks. For the average age of funds, the target or regional goal is set at, on average, no older than 2.5 years, which is half of the need to spend project funds in the 5-year capital program. For this measure, the lower the number, the better. Here we see that for the 2 example years, 25 and 26, the 3-year average of the performance metrics for each service board. For 2025, each of the service boards did not meet the target. For 2026, performance improved and both CTA and METRA met the 2.5-year target. For the percent of available funds spent, we want 1/5 or 20% of the funds spent in each year of the 5-year capital program. For this measure, the higher the number, the better. Here, for both 25 and 26, all service boards performed better than the goal. Next slide. Let's look at an example for the allocation calculation using the performance 3-year averages for 2019 and 2020 to apply to the 25 and 26 funding respectively. We use the same funding estimate for both 25 and 26 to keep it simple. The first column shows the funding for each of those 2 years, totaling $818 million. The columns in dark blue show the impact of the performance measures for each year. Recall that for the years considered for the 25 allocation, all 3 service boards did not meet the target for at least one of the measures, So all three would get some funds withheld if we were to apply this approach. In the years used to calculate the 2026 targets, the goals were largely met, except for PACE, which had a small amount withheld. The last two columns show the combined results for the first 2 years, for those 2 years. A little over $6 million would be withheld out of the $1.6 billion in funding. Again, let me emphasize that this funding is estimated numbers now and that they will be updated during the formal capital budget process. But the performance measures are actual values to give you a good idea of the impact if they were to be applied in the 25 and 26 program years. Based on discussions with the service boards and reflected in our proposal, we are recommending that we enact the withholding starting in 2026. So the amount that would be withheld in this example is about $230,000. Next slide. The final principle is to incorporate policy-driven priorities in how capital is allocated and spent. And again, it makes sense to build on the work we've done and use this process to improve project selection and development. We also see this as an opportunity to better articulate that the projects are developed through the existing logical processes guided by the strategic plan. And we use these priorities to direct funding to goals and core requirements. Next slide. Next, let's discuss priority projects and their importance. They put a face to the funding needs of the region. This process can establish more transparency to these projects that are relevant to the long-range and strategic plans for the region. Currently, we have 71 priority projects identified and articulated to help us communicate our 10-year funding needs. And 91% of the current capital program is towards these priority projects. Next slide. We know the majority of investments will need to be state of good repair, and this shows that represented by the blue in this chart. But also there's a need to strike a balance with the other goals also illustrated here from the strategic plan. For the coming year, we would expect, for the coming years, we would expect we wouldn't expect a large change in this balance of how the strategic goals are reflected in the capital program. Next slide. Focusing on the core requirements, this analysis clearly demonstrates that we are maintaining and improving safety again, shown in blue here. With accessibility in gold and equity in red receiving the smallest share of the program, we would expect to see an increase in these as we put more of a priority on them in the 25 and 26 program years. Next slide. The service boards have been part of reviewing the RTA staff recommendations as it was developed. That said, they have also expressed a variety of concerns with the approach that have to be addressed in the next phase of the process. The concerns are outlined in the board memo. Some of those concerns would require a complete change to the allocation structure that was created by the working group and would require additional time that would delay the allocation process significantly. We don't want to be in a position of setting aside 2 years of capital funding, as this could impact the service board's ability to move forward with their capital construction projects. So we recommend continuing to work through the concerns expressed while also adopting this proposal. We have agreed to allow the performance metrics to be put in place starting with the 2026 program year as mentioned earlier. This holds the agencies harmless for 1 year to give them time to make changes as needed to get their capital delivery processes up to speed with the regional goals. Next slide. Here is a summary of the proposed allocation structure. We acknowledge that what we put together and developed here is not perfect, but it helps us take a step or two forward in a credible manner based on a lot of previous work, data, analysis, and performance metrics. We hope what you have heard throughout this process and today gets us to a point where we can all stand by this collectively. Next slide. So in terms of next steps, we hope to hear feedback from you in a moment. We are then going to release this document for public comment through July 1st. We'll come back to you in July with a summary of the feedback we received and a proposal for your adoption. The proposed formula will then be used to calculate the 25 and 26 funding amounts allocated to the service boards and the capital budget marks that will be released by the statutory deadline of September 15th. Thanks for your attention, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Jill. Questions or comments, knowing that this is an ongoing process over the next few months?
I am looking for any hands. I got a lot of names to scroll through here. I do not see any hands.
Okay, and Jill's available along with Leanne if you have questions, or B.
Audrey, I had a quick question.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Somehow might have missed you.
Yeah, it's a tiny little hand. It's a tiny little hand.
No, there's a few hands now. So Director Groban, if you would go, and then followed by Director Sager and then Director Melvin.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I think, a quick one for you, Jill. So when you show the 17 through 19 performance and then move to the 18 through 20 performance, not everyone passed on the previous 3 years, but then did for the second 3 years, or at least there was improvement. So do you have, is that an indication that they are trending in the right directions as far as their expenditure performance?
I do think so. I will also say in 2020, a lot more funding came online with the Rebuild Capital Program. So what you're saying in the 3 years previous is not as much funding and kind of older funding that was still there. But okay. I do think it's going in the right direction.
Good. Probably too early to have a 2021 view.
We've been monitoring it. Yeah, we're only about 6 months through, but we do monitor it on a quarterly basis.
Okay. Good. Well, that's encouraging. Thank you.
Director Sager.
Yes, thank you, Jill. This is an incredibly challenging and complex issue. I think that the board has, with an interest in performance-based capital allocation, which has been expressed, a strong desire to move forward in a positive direction with this. And so I want to commend the staff in its entirety for the exceptional efforts that you've made to look at this very broadly and to try to derive an approach which is going to be both fair and also most appropriate and efficient. And so I want to thank everyone for that. I think there still remain certain questions that come out, and you've tried to address some of these types of things. And I'm not really asking for a strong response today, but I simply want to reiterate that I do believe that there are some pointed issues that we're going to have to at least consider how we might think about some of these types of things. But one of the first things that I believe is important is to look at this performance as it relates to the specific years of consideration for baseline. And we have to understand that there are some exceptional things that have really created, I think, major challenges for all of us, our service boards, as we've gone through the last few years of the economic structure. And so I think that we need to be cognizant of outliers, and they may not necessarily be the same for every service board. I just think we have to take a look at that and see what that impact is upon the calculations that we are making. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I do believe as we look at the 20% kind of withholding there, if you will. And I noticed that in your language, Jill, frankly, you kind of emphasize the amount of money based upon an X billion-dollar program. And when you really look at it that way, it's not that large. But when you look at it in terms of the significant demand that is existing within each of the service boards for capital investments, it is money that needs to be spent. And so I think we have to be very cautious with this withholding. And I want to make sure, one, that withholding is returned and specifically designated for capital projects, and that we put that money in there, and that we see that is spent for capital programs and is returned rather immediately into those program opportunities. I think the other thing that we have to understand, again, and I reiterate things that I've said before, but the fact of the matter is that certainly there are always differing reasons why projects don't proceed in as timely or efficient manner as what we would like to see. And some of those things are simply out of control of the service boards. And I think we have to be cognizant of that. For example, sometimes eminent domain issues or others may come into play there that just kind of tie the hands of the boards. And I just want to make sure that we are open and willing to be a little bit more thoughtful in terms of those things rather than saying, okay, here it is. This is the standard. This is the absolute metric. And so we're just going to cut it off at that point. So it's black and white. Things like this are not always black and white. So I just request humbly your consideration of that as we kind of continue to move forward. But I do believe that there has been a significant effort here to construct a program that is going to be worthy and is going to be fair. And I appreciate the discussions and the level of conversation with the service boards. And that's my final request. We're going into the last month here on this. I just want to make sure that all of our service boards are working together and are positive in terms of their perspective on the approach that's being suggested. So those would be my comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Sager.
Thanks,
Just to
Director.
clarify, just a couple of points. One, what we're proposing right now is the funding that would be withheld, and the proposal we're putting forward is those 26 funds, that the discussion happen what to do with those withheld funds in the strategic planning process or in the step 3 that we're initiating later this summer and move into fall. The other point I just want to point out is it is at the discretion on an annual basis of the RTA board when we have these performance measures and we do this analysis. Kind of the marks or the allocation process that's referenced on this slide on September 15th, that's considered by the board annually as well. So some of the considerations that you've discussed would be before you annually based on this process.
Director
Yes.
Melvin?
Yes, thanks. Take my hand down. First of all, yeah, just a great structure, great report. Again, you guys do a great job of balancing so many interests and so many issues, and I think it's very, very well done and thoughtful, and as Dr. Sager said, fair. Following up though on what Dr. Sager said about the set-asides, I think he's quite right that it's important to have as much certainty as possible for the service boards, and there may be many reasons why things are delayed. As he said, eminent domain issues or something else, and every service board has unique issues. So again, it making sure that there's as much certainty around it, the allocation of it as possible is desirable. On another related issue, for CTA, I want to ask about the state of good repair. The CTA issued bonds when there was no state budget and prior to there being lots of federal dollars and state money, which went to capital issues, and that lowered the whole system's state of good repair numbers. Is there going to be any consideration for the money they borrowed and invested in the calculation for state of good repair? And I think it's an important issue because we could, as you pointed out, find ourselves once again in the future without a state budget. We don't want to disincent the service boards from investing in capital simply because they're worried they might be penalized in a year or two when there is a state budget or another political effort made. So is there any consideration given to that, please?
So yeah, I'll try to respond to that. So I think what you're referring to is kind of the backlog and the asset condition. So all of that work is done agnostic of funding source. So we're not looking at where the money came from, just basically that looking at the assets and the maintenance and the useful life of that. I understand CTA's concern. I think some of where the funding is coming from and how the debt has been treated in the past and how it's been treated in the future is something we'll have to continue to discuss. But I guess I just want to be clear, it's not considered in those backlog numbers. Where it does come into play is the percent spent, the performance measure that we have, CTA does use some of their federal funds to pay down their debt service. And so we back those out of those calculations for this time. So those are the differences. All of these things I think are very ongoing discussions. Again, our biggest point here is to attract more stable dedicated funding to transit, not less. So all those points are well taken, but that's where that is right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for considering that. I think it's an important issue. Thank you.
Director Andolfio?
Thank you, and thank you, Joe. Very detailed report. Just to echo on Director Saga and Melvin's report, as I understand, for lack of performance, funds will be withheld from the service boards. Will they have an opportunity, or is there going to be a mechanism in place for them to earn those dollars back for future great performances?
So I definitely think that's a consideration. I think there's a wide spectrum of ideas that should be debated about what to do with the withheld funds. I'll just remind everybody that these would not come online until 2026, so we do have some time. And that's why we're suggesting that we have that discussion as part of the strategic plan update and our step 3 recovery work. That being said, I hear your comments, and if this needs to be secured sooner than that, we will obviously wait to hear from the public comment period as we move forward with the proposal for next month.
Thank you.
Director Payne?
Thank you. First of all, you did such great work. The RTA did such great work over the last year and listened to people, and the fact that the stakeholders are, not 100%, but really appreciative of the work too. I just have really kind of reiterating what other people are saying here, that any work like this has a lot of details to go through, and you've done a great job with it. But before we get to final approval, I think we need to finalize those discussions that are going on here today, and get it as nailed down as possible, so that we don't run into each other thinking, oh, I thought we meant this or that. So I know you can never get to every single detail, but I think that's what we have to strive for before we go to final.
Director Holt?
Thank you. And Jill and team, thank you all very much. I will echo the kind words that everybody has said about the really hard work that you all have done. And I know the service boards and our conversations with them greatly appreciate the RTA's approach to this as well. I just want to make one comment, which I know I've mentioned to you before, but I would like to just reiterate that I think it's really important that the funds that are withheld are actually, and however this is done, I understand is up to discussion, but are ultimately returned to the service boards for use in capital investments and in advancing our state of good repair. The fact of the matter is if we don't have enough money to do the work that we need to do, which is something that we have, with respect to state of good repair, as we have talked about in these board meetings, and you all have talked about many times. If we were in a different situation where there were, sort of quote unquote excess funds, I could see having a more discretionary process where the funds were used for other purposes, right? Whatever those other purposes might be. But I'd like to strongly advocate that those funds, those withheld funds, are returned for investment in our state of good repair, whatever the formula might look like in terms of how they're returned. As I said, I just think it's very important, given the shortfall in funding that we have right now, that we keep that at top of mind for our approach going forward. So thank you.
I am
Audrey,
checking one last time.
Audrey, if I could jump in, this is Pat.
Sure.
I agree with, first of all, Joe, great presentation, and I really want to acknowledge the work done by RTA staff as well as all three service boards. I'm sure as all of my fellow directors have had discussions with service board members, and I know I have out in Lake County, and they've been, while maybe not 100% agreement on everything that's been done, I think they're comfortable at this point, as am I. I guess in talking about what to do with the money that's withheld, I have always assumed it would be used for capital and would be used for state of good repair down the road. As far as, I'm not sure if it's being suggested that we return it to the specific service board it was withheld from, which to me, and again, this is a discussion we need to have, and I don't think I need to have it before we approve what's in front of us, which we're going to talk about and hopefully vote on in July. But when we do have that discussion, I think if you're saying that, if someone is saying that they want to return it to the board it was withheld from, it kind of takes away the punitive aspect of, and maybe punitive is not the right word, but the aspect of encouraging the boards to meet the metrics that we put in place. But I absolutely, I believe it needs to be returned to the service boards generally in terms of capital expenditure. And that's really the point I wanted to make. But I think the work that's been done by the RTA staff and the service boards will get us down the road that we want to go down. Is it 100%? Is it where we're going to end up? No. And I really look forward, as I'm sure my fellow board members do, to the discussion in the step 3 in the strategic planning and how we go forward from here. So thank you.
Thanks, Director Carey. I'll just jump in really quick, just to clarify. So yes, there is the funding would need to be used for capital funding for the service board. So there's no question on that. Both the funding source of PAYGO and the federal formula funds stipulate that it needs to be used, and we would follow those requirements. I think what the I guess unknown is how that would be reallocated back to the service boards, whether they would have an opportunity to improve those metrics and receive those funds, or I guess on another extreme, and I think there are a lot of different examples, that there potentially be a discretionary pot where we have another process. So just to clarify, they would definitely be used for capital funds for the service boards.
I'm going to take one last look. I do not see any more hands. If I've missed anyone, please feel free to jump in now. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you. Thanks to the board. And again, Jill, thank you, and to all the staff. Very good work, very difficult work, and still ongoing. Item 7A is an ordinance approving the combining financial report and certifying compliance with the RTA Act recovery ratio requirement for 2020. And 7B is an ordinance approving the release of the RTA 2020 annual comprehensive financial report. John Evans will present these items to the board, and then we'll have a roll call on each of these individually.
Yes, this is John Yu. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Before Joe Evans from RSM joins us for the presentation, I'll give you a brief introduction about those 2 items. The next 2 items are the ordinance approving the RTA's 2020 financial statement. The first ordinance approves the 2020 combined financial report. This report represents a compilation of the financial results of the RTA and 3 service boards. The RTA Act requires this report in order to provide an overall financial picture of the entire RTA system. Our external auditors do not audit this financial statement, but they do review the compilation. Each service board's auditor issued unmodified, which is clean opinion for their 2020 financial statements. The ordinance certifies that based on the final audited result, the RTA system achieved a 51.9% recovery ratio for region-wide mainline service and a 9.7% for regional ADA paratransit service. In addition, given the importance of this meeting, this RTA Act requirement, we have requested top financial officers of the CTA, Metro, and PACE to certify the figures they provide us to calculate this region-wide recovery ratio. I'm pleased to report that we have received this certification from all three service boards. The second ordinance approved the 2020 annual comprehensive financial report. This report covers only the RTA reporting entity, the RTA Act, and the bond covenant file, an audit of this annual comprehensive financial report. We have with us today representative of our audit firm, RSM, to cover topics required by auditing standard. Now, I would like to turn it over to our external auditor, Joe Evans, is the senior partner with the RSM and the lead partner in the RTA audit. RSM is the fifth largest CPA firm in the nation and has a specifically serving government like RTA. Joe Evans has over 30 years of experience performing audit government, and he has significant experience to all aspects of government operation. With that, Joe Evans.
Thank you, John. Can you hear me okay? With me today is our DBE partner, Maria Prado from Prado and Renteria, and some key members of our staff. Ronnie Christopher is the engagement manager, and Bill Sarb was slotted to be with us today, but I'm happy to report him and his wife just had a new baby boy a few hours ago. So Bill's at the hospital with his wife and everyone's doing very well. Next slide, please. This has certainly been an interesting year. The RTA implemented the new Infor ERP system in 2020. Of course, the pandemic shifted the work environment and the RTA transitioned to a remote work for the majority of, or beginning in March 2020, and that continued through today. Modifications were made to existing processes and controls to make sure that all electronic approvals and signatures were appropriate. The audit was conducted entirely remote during 2020. Our DBE goal of 15% audit participation was achieved, and Maria Prado from Prado and Renteria and her firm provided assistance with the single audit and pension audit and overall financial statement audit. Next, please. Our scope of services include the annual comprehensive financial report, the special purpose combining financial report, that's the statutory basis compilation of RTA and the service boards, the joint self-insurance fund report, the RTA Metro and PACE pension plan report, which is the financial statements of the pension plan, as well as the pension allocation schedules in accordance with GASB 68. And finally, the single audit, or the audit performed of the federal funds in accordance with uniform guidance. Next slide, please. Some highlights of the annual comprehensive financial report. The RTA was awarded the GFOA Certificate for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 26th straight year, a very prestigious award from the Government Finance Officers Association. Cash flows timing from the state of Illinois remained consistent for sales tax and ASA, AFA, and as Leanne mentioned, have improved slightly for PTF. Net position had a deficit. Net position has a deficit balance of $1.3 billion in 2020. And that deficit, of course, is driven by the bonded debt, for which the proceeds are passed on to the service boards. But bonded debt did decrease from 1.9 billion to 1.7 billion. As far as the general fund budget is concerned, the budget was amended in 2020 due to the pandemic. The impact was largely decreases to the expected sales tax and PTF receipts coming from the state, but actual receipts came in higher than the amended budget by 60 million. Next slide, please. The special purpose combining financial report is the report that is submitted by the state in accordance with the RTA Act. Each service board, as John mentioned, did receive an independent audit and submitted their audited financial statements to the RTA. And each service board certified their recovery ratio to the RTA. As far as the region-wide recovery ratio is concerned, the region-wide ended up at 51.9%, and the ADA paratransit recovery ratio 9.7%. CTA, Metro, and PACE achieved the region-wide statutory recovery requirement of 50% by allocating CARES Act funding. ADA paratransit was not allocated CARES Act funding, so it did not meet the 10% requirement. Next slide, please. Other audits that we performed include the Joint Self-Insurance Fund. The JSIF has net position of 22.7 million. RTA distributed 9.1 million from the general fund, and insurance premiums were 7.6 million. As for the RTA Metro and PACE pension plan, this is the plan that includes the non-union employees of RTA Metro and PACE. Combined employer contributions of 18.4 million were made during the fiscal year. And after some volatility in the spring due to the pandemic, overall investment markets were positive for the year, and we reported a net investment income of 35.7 million. The market funded ratio was 75% as of the end of the year. Next slide. We will be issuing unmodified opinions. That's referred to as a clean opinion, the best opinion you can have. And that covers the report on the JSIF, the Joint Self-Insurance Fund, the RTA Metro and PACE pension plan, and the annual comprehensive financial report of the RTA. There were no material weaknesses identified during our audit, and no material issues were identified relating to our presumed significant audit risks. These are areas where we do intense work to ensure that there are no material issues, and that includes management override of controls, potential for fraudulent revenue recognition, estimation uncertainty associated with the net pension liability, and valuation of certain alternative investments in the pension fund. Next slide, please. At this time, I'd like to introduce Maria Prado from our DBE partner. They worked on the single audit, and have Maria present the results of the single audit.
Thank you, Joe. I will be presenting the results of the compliance audit. The single audit. The RTA reported total federal expenditures of 11 million in 2020. The federal programs included 7.4 million related to Federal Transit Formula Grants Program, of which 6.2 million was passed through this program to provide CARES Act funding, and 3.6 million in remaining federal expenditures were spread across several other programs, which are consistent with prior years. Based on the results of our testing of federal expenditures, there are no instances of non-compliance noted. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks, Maria. Next slide, please. During the year, we were required to implement some new accounting standards. GASB statement number 84 for fiduciary activities changed the reporting of the sales tax fund. It's now called the custodial fund, and includes some additional information on the movement of those funds. And GASB statement number 88, having to do with disclosures relating to debt. There were some additional disclosures added to the debt footnote. One thing to watch out for the future, we've been having several discussions. A new standard coming up is GASB statement number 87, having to do with leases. And this statement will have a profound impact on the service boards, as many of their assets involve leasing transactions. So something to look out for in the future. Next slide, please. This section contains the required communications that we as auditors have to have with our with boards. And the first item has to do with significant or unusual transactions. There were no significant or unusual transactions that emerged during the audit process. There were no audit adjustments made to the trial balance presented us during the audit. There were no uncorrected misstatements or past audit adjustments. As far as preferability of accounting policies, management has several choices as to which policies they can utilize, and we felt they selected the appropriate accounting policies for the reporting period. Finally, we noted no alternative treatments within GAAP relating to accounting policies and practices related to material items that were discussed with management prior to our engagement. Next slide, please. There were no disagreements with management. Management did not consult with any other accountants over accounting matters. There were no issues that were discussed with us prior to our engagement. We did not encounter any significant difficulties in performing the audit. And the written communications, of course, include the arrangement letter, which was presented to management prior to the start of our work. And we will also receive a written management representation letter from management indicating that they've fully cooperated with the audit process. Next slide, please. Just in wrapping things up, I just want to acknowledge B. Hickey, John Yu, and Lelaine Alvarez and the rest of the finance team for the outstanding work that they've done this year. We, as I mentioned earlier, did the entire audit remotely and had many, many meetings like this one over various platforms. And I'm happy to report that we're wrapping up on time and on budget. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Joe Evans.
Director Sager, I'm sorry, Director Sager had a comment. Dr. Sager, are you there? You're on mute.
Hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I'm not sure that this is the appropriate time, but Chairman, I'm just wanting to, with all due respect, perhaps make a suggestion, and that is that given the fact that we have many reports today and lots of items of business before us, I believe 10, perhaps, and with the COVID requirements that we have by executive order, perhaps we might go through all of the reports for items of business and then accept an omnibus motion for approval that of all that is before us. And of course, if there's an item that a particular member of the board wishes to have removed for separate consideration, that could be accommodated. But that would be my request for consideration by yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Sager. That's a great suggestion. I defer to Nadine, our legal counsel, to tell us if that is allowable.
Thanks, Chairman, and thanks, Dr. Sagar, for that recommendation. That is the process that we would normally follow in an open meeting, but unfortunately, due to that change in the Open Meetings Act, a voice vote is required on each individual item. I know it seems silly, but I think it's due to the virtual nature of the meeting in order to ensure that each director's vote is recorded and seen by the public to ensure that, you know, every single director vote is counted appropriately.
Well, this is Brian, and I would respectfully suggest that many bodies, even under the edict, have still operated a consent calendar, and I don't think that that's been seen as objectionable or in conflict with the requirements of the executive order. But I, of course, will yield to your position. Thank you.
And Dr. Sagar, I'll try to get us through this agenda as quickly as we can. Any more questions or comments for John or Joe on 7A and 7B? If not,
No, sorry, Director Colson.
Yeah, if I might, just briefly for the audit committee. This is an impressive product and even daunting in some respects. I would point out that it includes a very lengthy analysis of the debt service that the system is carrying, and I think that that will be very, very useful going forward. Obviously, it's a clean opinion. There are no problems here. And that means a lot of people are doing a lot of things right. So it's all good news.
Great, thank you, Director. All right, how about a motion on,
No, I see no other questions.
Okay, let's have a motion on 7A if we may, in a second.
Director Colson moves and Director Ross seconds.
Thank you. Take the roll on that, please, Audrey.
Director Andalcio.
Aye.
Director Canty.
Aye.
Director Carey. Director Colson.
Aye.
Director Frega. Director Frega.
Aye.
Okay. Director Gathing. Aye. I'm sorry, Director Fuentes.
Aye.
Director Gathing votes. Director Groven.
Aye.
Director Holt.
Yes.
Director Cotel.
Aye.
Director Lewis.
Aye.
Director Melvin.
Yes.
Director Pang.
Yes.
Director Ross.
Yes.
Director Ross.
Yes.
Okay. Director Sagar.
Yes.
Chairman Dillard.
Yes,
16 ayes.
thank you. And that will be so recorded and is approved. 7B, same thing. Can I have a motion in a second, please?
Director Sagar moves and Director Canty seconds. Roll call.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Director Andalcio.
Aye.
Director Canty.
Aye.
Director Carey.
Aye.
Director Colson.
Aye.
Director Frega.
Aye.
Director Fuentes.
Aye.
Director Gathing.
Aye.
Director Groven.
Aye.
Director Holt.
Aye.
Director Cotel.
Aye.
Director Lewis.
Yes.
Director Melvin.
Yes.
Director Pang.
Yes.
Director Ross.
Yes.
Director Sagar.
Yes.
Chairman Dillard.
Aye,
16 ayes.
thank you. So 7B is also approved. Thank you. Let's move on to 7C, which is an ordinance authorizing the amendment to the 2021 to 2025 capital program. Tatiana, is this one, Tatiana Jane, this one yours?
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Dillard and members of the RTA board.
We're here to request approval of the ordinance amending the 2021-2025 Regional Capital Program. This amendment incorporates changes in program revenues and expenses for CTA, Metro, and PACE. This quarter, we are asking you to approve a total net funding increase to the 5-year capital program of $90.89 million that affects both current and out years. The vast majority of this funding, or $98.48 million, is previous capital funding that had been approved by the RTA board in past years and is being reprogrammed to the current year due to changing priorities or project scope and budget changes. The other $0.41 million constitutes an adjustment to the federal formula funding allocations approved last quarter and a small adjustment to actual PACE funds available, ICE funds available. The total net increase for CTA is $52.65 million, for Metro $38.10 million, and for PACE $0.14 million. In addition, $11.8 million of PACE ADA funding has been reprogrammed from out years to 2021 to accommodate for the grant application timing with no change to the total 5-year capital program. The project and budget changes in the capital program are included in the memo and schedules 2A and 2B attached to the ordinance. RTA staff has reviewed this request and found it to be justified as outlined in the ordinance request memo. I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we are seeking your approval of this ordinance.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
I do not see any hands.
If not, how about a motion and a second?
Director Gathing moves. And Director Groven seconds.
Thank you. Take the roll, Madam Secretary.
Director Indalcio?
Aye.
Director Canty?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Colson?
Aye.
Director Frega? Director Frega? Come on, I know you're there.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Director Fuentes?
This was
Aye.
gone for a minute. I had to
Director
stop in the
Fuentes.
men's room.
Okay,
Aye.
Director Fuentes?
Aye.
Director Gathing?
Aye.
Director Groven?
Aye.
Director Holt?
Aye.
Director Cotel?
Aye.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Melvin?
Yes.
Director Pang? Director Pang? Director Pang? You're muted. Are you there? If you come back, can you please respond? Director Sagar?
Yes.
Skipped me.
Oh, sorry, Director Ross?
Yes.
Okay, Director Sagar? Chairman Dillard?
Yes.
This is Sarah Pang.
Okay,
Yes.
16 ayes.
Great. Thank you. And that will be so reported. Thank you. Item 7D is an ordinance authorizing a contract for ERP managed services. George Coleman, this one's yours.
Thank you, Chairman Dillard. Good morning, members of the board. This ordinance is a request for the execution of a contract with Arisma Group, LLC. They're doing business as a company called Syndian. And this is to provide ERP managed services for a total amount not to exceed $750,000. This contract will have a base term of 12 months following contract execution, and then 6 one-year renewal options to follow. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has questions related to this. Thank you.
George, do those one-year renewal options have to come back before the board?
I don't believe they do, because I'm pretty sure that the total amount won't exceed where we're at 750,000. So I don't believe they will.
Director Andalcio has his hand raised.
David?
Mr. Coleman, does this contract have any DBE participation?
I do not believe so.
Thank you.
Yep.
I see no other. Oh, Director Frega, you have your hand raised.
I do, and I'm asking the 750,000. Is that for the total contract, or is that for 1 year?
Yeah, that's going to be for the total contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, I don't see any other questions.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second to approve then as submitted?
Director Andalcio moves and Director Frega seconds. Roll call.
Please.
Director Andalcio,
Aye.
Director Canty,
Aye.
Director Carey,
Aye.
Director Colson,
Aye.
Director Frega,
Aye.
Director Fuentes.
Aye.
Director Fuentes. Director Fuentes, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello, aye?
Yes. Okay. Director Gabbing. Aye. Director Groven.
Aye.
Director Holt.
Yes.
Director Cotel.
Aye.
Director Lewis.
Yes.
Director Melvin.
Yes.
Director Payne.
Yes.
Director Ross.
Aye.
Director Sager.
Yes.
Chairman Dillard.
Aye.
16 ayes.
Thank you. And item 7D is approved. 7E is an ordinance appointing a pension trustee representing PACE. Bill, you want to brief us on this one, please?
Yes, I will. Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and RTA directors. This is Bill Lackman, now Chair of the Board of Trustees of the RTA Pension Plan. Before you are requests to appoint Lori Newson and Robert Voracek as employee members of the RTA Pension Plan Board of Trustees. Just a reminder, the RTA Pension Plan covers all RTA employees as well as non-represented employees of Metra and PACE. The membership of the RTA Pension Plan Board of Trustees consists of 3 agency trustees, 1 each from the RTA, Metra, and PACE, and 4 non-employee trustees. PACE CFO Lori Newson would be replacing former PACE CFO Dominic Cuomo, who retired on the 31st of May after serving as an RTA pension trustee since his appointment by the RTA board on December 2nd, 1999. The meeting materials contain an outline of Ms. Newson's professional background. To be brief, Ms. Newson arrived at PACE earlier this month after serving 4 years as the RTA's chief auditor and director of capital programs, local planning, and program management. Ms. Newson joined the RTA after 6 years as an independent consultant focused on programs to address health disparities, violence, homelessness, and job training, as well as a decade of increasing responsibilities with several public housing authorities. Ms. Newson earned her bachelor's of Science degree in accounting from Roosevelt University. Metra Treasurer Robert Voracek would be replacing former Metra CFO Thomas Farmer, who left Metra on June 4th after serving as an RTA pension plan trustee since his appointment by the RTA board on November 16, 2011. Mr. Voracek joined Metra in 1992 as treasurer, he is responsible for Metra's investment portfolio, cash management, and banking relationships. He also serves as a member of Metra's defined contribution plan committees. Previously, Mr. Voracek worked for Chase Bank and Wells Fargo and has held both Series 7 and 63 Financial Industry Regulation Authority or FINRA licenses. Retired Colonel Voracek served in active and reserve positions in the U.S. Army. He is now involved in several community organizations, including the Boy Scouts of America and the Community Youth Baseball program. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, Mr. Voracek had an immutable conflict at 11 o'clock this morning, but I should be able to introduce you, and many of you already know her, to Ms. Newsom. She, I believe, is on the call in case you have any questions for her about her interests and qualifications. Lori, Lori, are you on the call?
Yes, Phil, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I really would like to thank the board, RTA staff, and members of the plan committee for allowing me to serve as a committee member. I am looking forward to working with the committee and looking forward to making an impact and serving the pension members very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you, Bill. Any questions of Bill or Lori?
I see Director Cotel has his hand raised.
Tom, do you have a question or comment?
You're on mute.
No, I didn't lower my hand after the last motion.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. So taking Director Sager's suggestion, and because these are aligned, I want a motion to approve items 7E and 7F together as one vote to approve both the PACE and the Metra additions to our pension board. Can I have a motion and a second on that, please?
I have Director Groven motioning and Director Sager seconding.
Thank you. So this is the actual motion to approve 7E and 7F together. And with that, Madam Secretary, please take the roll.
Director Andalcio?
Aye.
Director Canty?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Colson?
Aye.
Director Frega?
Aye.
Director Fuentes?
Aye.
Director Gathing? Aye. Director Groven?
Aye.
Director Holt?
Aye.
Director Cotel?
Aye.
Director Lewis? Director
Yes.
Lewis? Okay. Director Melvin?
Yes.
Director Pang?
Yes.
Director Ross?
Yes.
Director Sager?
Yes.
Chairman Dillard?
Yes.
16 ayes.
Thank you. So those two individuals, Bill, are approved. Thank you, board. Item
Thank you very much.
7G. Item 7G is the approval of travel expense reimbursements. Any questions or comments on this, or can I have a motion in a second?
I think I see hands for motions and seconds. I see Director Andalcio moves and Director Cotel seconds.
Great, thank you. So Audrey, please take the roll on that.
Director Andalcio?
Yes.
Director Canty?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Colson?
Yes.
Director Frega?
Aye.
Director Fuentes?
Aye.
Director Fuentes.
Aye. Hello.
Thank you.
Aye.
Director Gadding. Aye. Director Groven.
Aye.
Director Holt.
Aye.
Director Cotel.
Aye.
Director Lewis.
Yes.
Director Melvin.
Yes.
Director Pang.
Yes.
Director Ross.
Aye.
Director Sager.
Yes.
Chairman Dillard.
Yes,
16 ayes.
thank you. So that item is approved. Item 7H is a resolution honoring one of our great members and a wonderful man, Director John Friga. Madam Secretary, why don't you read the resolution to in the record?
Okay, I have to pull it up. I forgot that I was going to be on call. I'll have it here in 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, come on. There you are.
Because I get to read yours, Audrey.
I know. I'm already nervous. Okay. Director Fraga, you ready for this?
He's ready for anything.
I think so, yeah. I'm ready for it.
Okay. Since my screen pulls it up, come on. Whereas John V. Fraga has served as a member of the Regional Transportation Authority Board of Directors, representing the residents of suburban Cook County since 2011. Whereas Director Fraga is respected and admired by his fellow board members and the staff of the RTA, advocate all veterans and dedicated and concerned director. Whereas Director Fraga has served with distinction and dedication, serving on the Compensation and Human Resources Committee, as well as the Planning and Administration Committee. Whereas working with the Board of Directors, Director Fraga helped oversee the prudent allocation of funding by programming dollars to the most needed infrastructure improvements in the region. Whereas Director Fraga has been a steadfast guardian of the taxpayer dollars of the region and served as a diligent advocate of efficiency and cost effectiveness. And whereas Director Fraga's professional experience has provided guidance and perspective in RTA board deliberations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Regional Transportation Authority hereby honors John V. Fraga for his years of conscientious and dedicated service to the people of Northeastern Illinois and for his commitment to enhancing the stability and integrity of the region's public transportation system for all the residents of the region.
Great. Thank you, Madam Secretary. And John, thank you so much for your service. And I especially have always appreciated your direct questioning and advocacy for United States veterans of the armed forces. In addition to your construction and engineering expertise, the veterans stuff is especially needed and deeply, deeply appreciated. And you've always been a gentleman, and I'll see you and salute you every time I ride by on Metra, that Riverside station. So thank you, John. Any other directors have comments before we turn it over to Director Friga?
Director Ross.
I'd just like to compliment John for his outstanding service on our board. He's always been a classy gentleman. I've appreciated his questions as they relate especially to finances, and like the chair, his passion and advocacy for veterans is to be admired and respected. So best wishes, John, to you and your family. Hope you enjoy this in retirement thoroughly and fully. Thank you.
Director Melvin.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, John, we've worked together for a while. It's always been a pleasure. I've always enjoyed your attitude and, your disposition. We're going to miss you on days like today when we have to deal with project issues and questions. I'm going to miss you in the summer when, you have those special style points when you wear those seersucker suits that I love so much. I'll be thinking about you. Enjoy this next chapter of your life. Godspeed.
Thank you, and it's hard to believe that I've served 10 years. 10 years passes very quickly. I hope I have contributed and done my job. I will keep my eyes on transportation projects in the future and keep up the good work and lots of luck in the future.
Thank you, John, so much. These resolutions, this one and the one in a moment for our secretary, an oral roll call is allowed on these resolutions. So all those in favor of thanking John and presenting him a copy of this resolution, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it, and Mr. Friga's resolution and thanks are approved. Thank you so much, John.
16 ayes.
Thank you. Let's move on to the resolution honoring it's 7I on our agenda. And this one is I will read, and it's a tough one. Whereas the Regional Transportation Authority and its Board of Directors wish to honor Ms. Audrey Cole, formerly McLennan, for her dedication and longstanding service. Whereas Ms. Cole joined the RTA in May of 1989. I think John Friga was in grade school back in May of 1989. Whereas Ms. Cole was subsequently appointed to the position of Secretary of the Authority in December of 1994. Whereas Ms. Cole has served in the capacity of Secretary for a continuous period of 26 years and 6 months. Whereas Ms. Cole has been in attendance without fail for 295 board and 798 committee meetings conducted since her appointment, for an astounding total of 1,093 meetings. Whereas each of us lucky enough to work with Audrey has been the recipient of pre-dawn emails and remember her early arrivals in the office, as she often was on the first train out of Crystal Lake each day. Whereas Ms. Cole is known for her meticulous attention to detail, knowledge of the rules and regulations pertaining to the board's affairs, and kind but firm leadership in the conduct of our meetings. Whereas Ms. Cole's attention to detail extended to her keen oversight of board members' abilities to be heard, leading to her well-known refrain of "Mike, please," with an exclamation point during our meetings. Whereas Ms. Cole's deep connections to the regional community, and particularly to McHenry County, has been of tremendous service in the appointment and onboarding of directors throughout her tenure. Whereas Ms. Cole's direct impact on the people, culture, and success of the authority will be felt for years to come, she will be missed personally and professionally. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the RTA Board of Directors, its chairman and staff express their heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Cole and wish her well in her well-deserved retirement and future endeavors. Be it resolved that this resolution be included in the formal minutes of the meeting, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to Ms. Cole as an appreciation of our respect, esteem, and appreciation. Audrey, you're the best. You are amazing. You are the glue that keeps us all together and makes us look good on a daily basis, and we will so sorely miss you. With that, I'm going to turn it over for board members' comments, and then Leanne will say something as well, and then we'll let you speak, Audrey. Any
If I dry my eyes in time. I guess I'm going to have to call on people. Director Sager.
Well, thank you very much, Audrey. You know, one of the distinct advantages that McHenry County has always had as one of the collar counties on the board has been to really have two representatives on the board, because we've had the appointed representative, but then we've always had Audrey there, who's just been a great advocate for McHenry County, for the metro system, and certainly for our entire agency and authority. And so, Audrey, it's with absolute distinct regret on one hand that you are going to be retiring, but we always know that retirement is the door for a new chapter in life. And so we want to wish you the very best and sincere thanks from your many friends and colleagues out here in the McHenry County area, as well as throughout the entire agency. So thank you so much, and Godspeed.
Thank you. Director Ross.
Well, you're going to be missed greatly, Audrey. I've been on the board 13 years now. That's 3 CEOs and 3 board chairs. You've been the one constant for that entire time that I've been on the board. Your professionalism is beyond reproach, but I just love your personality and your sense of humor. When I arrived early on those train rides and sitting in the boardroom chatting with you, just complete joy. So I wish you the very best. I hope retirement is everything that you hope for. God bless you and Godspeed.
Thank you. Director Pang.
Oh, Audrey, this is one of those happy, sad occasions, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and what you do. It's so hard what you do. You're the kindest drill sergeant I've ever met, and I've met a few. And I remember that you were the standout when I was onboarded, and it was a lot coming at me. And you said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll just set you straight." And you did over and over and over again in a very kind and wonderful way. You made this RTA run, and we hope to see you soon. And I owe you a drink.
Thank you. Director Fraga.
Thank you, Audrey, for all you've done. And I personally do appreciate you and wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Canty.
Audrey, I just wanted to echo my colleague's comments. And I know it sounds strange because I only joined this board a year ago, and we joined in, one of the darkest times, I think, when we couldn't be near each other. And I just want to thank you so much for going so far out of your way, for making sure that I understood the history of things that were happening and who people were, and making sure that I got connected with the staff and fellow directors. I just can't thank you enough for making me feel like I had been on this board for so much longer than I had, and making me feel like I was in person when I was stuck at home participating virtually. So I wish you all the best in your retirement. You will be greatly missed.
Thank you. Director Andalcio.
Audrey, I have to say, during this pandemic, you've been a force. You've held all of us together. You've done an amazing job. And there's never been a question that I had that you couldn't answer or bring resolution. So I thank you for your service. Godspeed. And you're an incredible woman. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Melvin.
Hey, sorry, there's a phone ring in the background. Hey, Audrey, thank you for everything. We're going to miss you. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you keep up with all the details, remind us of all the things we haven't done, help us get those things done, and you do it while you're so nice. So I've really appreciated that. We're going to miss you. Take good care of yourself. Have a great time, whatever you're going to be up to. Enjoy yourself. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you. Director Cotel.
Audrey, good luck in retirement. I hope you enjoy yourself. And I know I speak for the rest of the board when I say thank you for all of your assistance and help over the years that I've been on the board. And you wear a lot of hats there, and you wear them all well. So good luck to you going forward, and I hope you get a long, healthy, and happy retirement.
Thank you. Director Groven, I thought we were done.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I would agree with what everybody said. Fantastic balance of professionalism and a great sense of humor. You've earned it, and I hope you have a fantastic time as both a newlywed and new retiree.
Thank you.
We couldn't have got here without you, and it was seamless moving from on-site to virtual. So fantastic job. God bless and good luck.
Thank you. Director Holt.
I just have to echo what everybody else said, Audrey. Thank you so much for not just your support, obviously, to the board, which we all feel, but also your support and help that you gave me in onboarding and all your attention to each of us where you make us feel like we're the only ones that you have to worry about. And so good luck. Have the best of time, and we're going to miss you very much.
Thank you. Director Gadding.
Hi, Audrey. I'll really miss you. I just wanted to echo what Mary Beth said, because I know it wasn't easy to onboard us virtually, but you made me feel very welcome. And I know she would echo that as well. So I really appreciate that, and for you staying on top of me and make sure that I'm involved in everything that I should be. So I wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you.
Audrey?
Yes.
This is Mike Lewis. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to speak, and I promised not to be long, but you have been a beacon of calmness and inspiration in the time that I've been on the board. And I've watched you seamlessly kind of navigate a lot of trials and tribulations with grace and with skill. So we will miss you. We really have enjoyed it. And sometimes I think you don't appreciate what you have until you don't have it anymore. It's about to be the case for us, but we're happy for you and sad for us. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Hey, Audrey, it's Pat. I also want to echo, but when I joined a couple of years ago, joining a new organization is always somewhat stressful. You got to find your way around, and you made me so comfortable. You have a sense of humor. You're very relaxed in terms of answering any questions, getting anything I needed, and it really made all the difference. And you continued that for the 2 years I've been on the board. So I wish you well. Thank you for all your efforts, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
This is Phil Fuentes. I'm having a problem, I guess, raising my hand. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you, Audrey. You know, we've been through a lot together, like Director Ross, a lot of changes within the administration of the RTA, and you've been the constant and always the resource that I went to whenever I had an issue, and you were able to resolve whatever I had. So, and then your ability, obviously, to keep everyone informed on schedule and on time has been a remarkable job. And so I just want to wish you all the best as you move forward in your next stage of your life. And hopefully I'll run into you one day and I'll buy you a drink too. So take care and be safe.
Thank you. Oh, I'm thinking that's all of them. I hope.
Love it. Leanne, you want to say something on behalf of the staff and yourself, please?
Yeah, I just want to sort of round a little bit of this out. Some of this was touched on in the resolution, but 32 years of service. Wow, that's impressive. And as noted, she began back in 1989, and she was administrative secretary, and then was appointed to the board secretary. And I think, Audrey, you've seen really the RTA grow up. In my mind, that's the way I kind of think about it. You've seen a lot of changes over the years. You've seen some good. I think you've seen a lot of good. I hope you've seen a lot of good, but you've also seen some of the really tough times too. And so you've weathered it all, always with a sense of humor, sometimes with a few tears. But you have seen 4 chairmen of the RTA. You've put up with 7 EDs. Which is pretty impressive. We can always, as was already talked about, we could always count on you to keep us in line, especially the staff and the senior team. I loved Sarah's line, the friendliest drill sergeant they ever met. I think that's that sort of resonated with me. But she keeps she keeps me together, makes me look good on a regular basis, and so that's been very, very much appreciated. Now that she's giving up her something like a 4 a.m. commute out of Crystal Lake every day, or at least not going back to that, she's going to have more time, I think, to enjoy I think being a newlywed. Time to enjoy the great outdoors, and more time for your camping, your fishing, your canoeing on the Nipissing. And I wish I could find that photo because I was going to ask them to put it up. Time to wear your waders while you're working on the dock. We'll save that for some time else. But time to have, I think, afternoon cocktails, watch sunsets, both you and Matt. And I think that's something that I hope you can really enjoy and look forward to. And I'll just wrap up by saying, we wish you well. Congrats on your retirement, and you will really be missed. So thanks.
Well, thank you. Are you ready for my little?
We are, Madam
Got
Secretary.
my tissue handy. First, let me say thank you for the extremely accurate resolution. I didn't realize anyone was paying such close attention. I would like to thank everyone for the incredible experience of being the board secretary for the past 26 years. A little known fact, I actually applied for this position 3 times before the board decided to take a chance on me. So I hope I've done the position justice. In looking back on my 32 years at the RTA and seeing the number of meetings I've covered, I thought I'd look at some other figures. Those of you who have worked closely with me, and even my husband knows I love spreadsheets. I make them for everything. Some of these figures surprised even me. In addition to the 1,093 board and committee meetings, I also had the pleasure of working with 61 extraordinary board members and 376 talented staff. During this time, I worked with 4 distinguished chairmen and 6 exceptional executive directors, each providing unique and insightful leadership. As of this, my last meeting, I'm honored to have witnessed the adoption of 1,995 ordinances and resolutions. 1995 was also my first full year as board secretary. The numbers kind of tie together. So as I say goodbye to the RTA and move on to a slower life pace, here we go. I will carry with me the memories we've made. Thank you all for your patience, support, and kindness shown me over the years. I'll cherish it always. Okay, that's it. As my dad would say, that's it.
Thank you. You're getting a standing ovation, whether you know it or not. Thank you so much, and well said. Don't be a stranger. With that, the secretary won't take the role. I will. All those in favor of this resolution honoring a remarkable human being, Audrey Cole, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
Aye.
there obviously is no opposition. And Audrey, we wish you all the best. And you're almost impossible to replace. So we thank you so much for everything, and stay in touch. And if you need anything, we're all here as you've helped us throughout the years to help you. So thank you. God bless you.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Audrey.
It's been an honor.
Let's move on to item 7A, which is a little bit related to Ms. Cole's departure. And that's an ordinance appointing a secretary to the authority. It's hard to believe. But Leanne, you want to tell us a little bit and brief us on our thought process on the irreplaceable of an irreplaceable human being in Audrey?
Yeah, I think, Chairman, you kind of covered it, but and I'll be very brief because it has been a long meeting this morning. We are required by state statute to actually formally name a board secretary, and because we can't replace Audrey Cole, we have to go in a slightly different direction. But we are making some slight tweaks in how we're kind of going to do this going forward. And before you in your board packet is a recommendation to appoint Jeremy LaMarche as secretary to the board. I think you all know Jeremy, but just to remind everybody, you know, he is our Director of Government Affairs. He is on our senior team. He is also an attorney, and in many cases, having those skill sets can be very helpful for us kind of going forward. Additionally, in an attempt to try, you know, we have to replace Audrey essentially with 2 people. So that the item before you is to appoint Jeremy as secretary to the authority, but kind of related and not necessarily requiring board action. We will be hiring administrative support to support you, myself, and Jeremy going forward as well. But the item for your consideration today is appointment of Jeremy LaMarche to secretary of the authority.
Thank you. And I highly, concur with Leanne's thought process here. I've known Jeremy as he was counsel to the Senate president in Springfield. So I've known Jeremy prior to my life at the RTA, and Jeremy is obviously a revered member of our staff at the RTA. And he's not just a lawyer, he's a law review editor, Order of the Coif lawyer as well. So a magna cum laude graduate. So Jeremy is a good choice if anybody at all can replace Audrey. With that, Audrey, can you take, if there's no questions on Jeremy, any questions on this process for Leanne or myself? If not, Audrey, can you take one last roll call if we get a motion or a second?
Sure.
To approve this ordinance appointing your statutorily required named replacement.
Sure. I have a motion by Sarah Pang and a second by Director Melvin.
Thank you.
Probably want to do a roll call on this one.
Yep, this one we need a roll call for. This one's
Okay.
required by state law. Take a
Director
roll call.
Adalcio,
Aye.
Director Canty,
Aye.
Director Carey,
Aye.
Director Colson,
Aye.
Director Frega,
Aye.
Director Fuentes,
Aye.
Director Gathing,
Aye.
Director Groven,
Aye.
Director Holt,
Aye.
Director Cotel,
Aye.
Director Lewis,
Yes.
Director Melvin,
Yes.
Director Pang,
Yes.
Director Ross,
Aye.
Director Sager,
Yes.
16, Chairman Dillard,
Aye.
16 ayes.
Thank you. That'll skew your statistics there, Audrey, as you had to take one more roll call. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
It was included.
And Jeremy LaMarche's resolution is approved. With that, is item 8. Any new business to be raised before the board today?
I don't see any hands unless Director Cotel has something. Nope.
Right.
I see no questions or new business.
Okay. Thank you. Seeing none, as a reminder, our next scheduled meeting for the RTA board will be Thursday, July 15th, beginning at 9 a.m. Many of the COVID-related restrictions seem to be lifting, which may allow us, and I've waited a long time to say this, to hold our July board meeting in person. We'll follow state and local health guidelines and provide the public with appropriate notice about next month's meeting. We know that in any event, our meetings will continue to be live streamed and available for viewing throughout the RTA website, no matter where anyone is. Please stay tuned to our RTA website for more information as the meeting approaches. So if there is no further business to come before the public session of the Board of Directors, I will entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
Director Frega moves and Director Andalcio seconds.
Thank you. And Director Frega, we will miss you. Audrey, we love you and we will miss you. With that, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Madam Secretary, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank